Hi, I'm Mary. Welcome to this class. So when you're ready, we're going to start in a seated position. So find a comfortable spot. Have a wiggle around. Make sure that both your sit bones are in touch with the floor. And then we'll close our eyes softly. Let's take a deep breath in. Noticing how that feels for your body. And then a steady breath out when you're ready. Another breath like that. Deep inhale. And a slow exhale. On the next breath in, can you grow that little bit taller out of your seat? So the crown of the head lifts up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Hold the breath there for a moment. And then as you exhale, allow your body to soften, to relax. Maybe those arms feel heavy in your lap or on your knees. We'll take one more breath like that. So think about the inhale as creating that length and that space for your breath. The exhale is finding that sense of ease and softness in your body. From here, gently start to open the eyes. We'll take the arms upwards, again with an inhale. So find that length by reaching the fingers up towards the ceiling. As you breathe out, keep that length there. So think about the chest is reaching forward. The sit bones, the knees may be pressing back and outwards. And then you can stay lifted, or if you want to go a little bit further, the chest comes close towards the thighs, fingers on blocks or maybe to the floor. Take a little bit of a move, a sway from side to side. Wonderful. Now we're going to keep this stretch here, but take it towards the side now. So creep the hands round towards the right side. Only go as far as you can until you feel that you want to lift up from your left seat. Think about pressing down through that left sitting bone, through that left knee. Breathing in. And breathing out. Lovely. Let's see how we get on the other side. So arms come round towards your left this time. Again, only going as far as you need to. You should be finding that stretch in towards the right side of your body. Think about the right sit bone pressing down. Don't allow it to lift too much there. One more breath. And then gently make your way back up. Good. From here, we're going to take the arms round our back. So the fingers are just going to reach as far away from your body as they need to. You can have the palms pressing down or maybe come to fingertips. Think about squeezing the shoulder blades together. I want you to feel that there's a nice stretch coming across the front of your upper body and through your chest, your shoulders. Keep squeezing those shoulder blades together. And then maybe if you want to, looking up towards the ceiling if the neck is happy there. Let's take one more breath. Slow exhale as you bring yourself back and those arms back around. Heading onto our knees now. So finding a high kneeling position here, we're heading to gate pose. So we'll start with the right leg extending out. You're very welcome to place some support underneath your knee if it feels uncomfortable. So the right leg is extending, the toes are lifting up, heel is pressing down. We have that length coming in and that stretch in towards the hamstring. Your right arm is going to reach down the leg as your left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Now think about the chest rotating out towards the side. So rather than collapsing down towards the leg, keep it nice and open there. Find an inhale, reach with that left arm, and then as you exhale, maybe taking that stretch a little bit further, you will feel a nice, delicious stretch coming in towards the side there. Rib cage expanding on that left side as you take another inhale. Maybe you could gaze to your palm or out towards the side wherever the neck is happy. Exhale. Lovely. Watch this transition here. Your left hand's going to come towards the mat. We find a supported side plank. Press down through that right foot. Right arm reaches towards the ceiling. You can take a hand underneath a block as an option. Breathing in, think about engaging through the glutes, lifting the side of the body up towards the ceiling. Breathing out. And then release it. Bring that hand back round. That leg steps in. We're switching sides. This time the left leg is extending. Pulling the toes up, heel pressing down. Feel that connection through the hamstring. Lovely. Left arm reaches down. Right arm reaches towards the ceiling. Find an inhale as you exhale, maybe taking that stretch a little bit further towards your neck. Chest is turning outwards. Try not to collapse down. Breathe in. Breathing out. If you're finding it a little bit tricky to balance, think about your back foot. So your right foot pressing down. It's going to help anchor you towards the floor. And then gently sweep the arm round. Right hand catches the mat. Left foot presses down and then your left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Engage through the glutes. It's almost a feeling of the hips engaging, the hip flexors pressing slightly forward. Think about those obliques, the side of your body lifting towards the ceiling too. You can gaze upwards, you can gaze towards the side, so wherever your neck feels comfortable, staying with it. And gently release, bring the knees back round. We're coming to a tabletop position. So spreading the fingers, finding that nice neutral feeling with the spine and the pelvis. And let's just find a bit of movement. So we'll just circle over the shoulders, bringing the hips back, changing direction. And really any movement that feels good here. So it could be that you start to move a little through the spine, through the hips. Especially if you feel a little bit of tension through the lower back, through the hips. Give them a little bit of a wiggle. See if we can loosen everything out. The elbows can start to bend. Take one more breath. And then let's find a sense of stillness here. Good. So from here, we're just going to start with a few pelvic tilts. So think about just the pelvis doing the movement. We're not going quite as far as our cow cats, for those of you who know that. It is just the pelvis that's going to move. So you're going to tilt it forwards and then tilt it back. Try not to bring too much of the upper body in. Try and isolate the movement in the pelvis. Good. So it's quite a subtle movement here. Taking two more. It's really tempting to move more of your body, isn't it? And then we're just going to take that movement from side to side. So it's kind of like a swishy feeling, but again, not too much movement. Can you see how my back wanted to connect there? I'm trying not to bring too much of my spine in, especially the upper region. Try and get the pelvis to do most of the work. Good, one more. And then release, come back to neutral. So now we will find our cow cats. Finding cow first, take an inhale, tailbone high, belly down, the chest is going to reach forward and we gaze ahead. Wonderful. And then as we exhale, it's the opposite feeling really. We're pushing the floor away, chin to chest. The belly draws in, we find that space for the shoulder blades, so they should be nice and spread apart. And then inhale, give them a little bit of a squeeze together. So now the shoulder blades squeeze, the chest reaches forward. Good, lovely. Exhale, push, push, push. Make sure those fingers are still spread. Inhale. And exhale. And then come back towards neutral. So we're going to take our tabletop to a balance now. This is a great exercise for our core muscles. So extend your left leg long and then see if you can bring your right arm and reach it forward. So it's opposite arm and leg that we're reaching. So my left hand is still pressing down. Embracing all the wobbles and the shakes. The leg doesn't need to be really any higher than hip height. But think about engaging and squeezing that left glute. That's going to help keep that heavy leg lifted. Reaching crown of head and think about the fingers again on that right hand as creating that length for the spine. Can we hold here for 3, breathing for 2 and for 1. Lovely. From here then, that left leg is going to come all the way forward, assist it if you need to, and we'll find a low lunge position. Again, feel free to place some support underneath your right knee. The right hand is down, we're taking it towards a twist. Left arm is going to reach towards the side to prepare. Inhale here, as you exhale we can find that rotation. You are welcome to keep the arm reaching up. You could wrap it round your back. It might even try and search for that right hip. Or if you want to, another variation is actually to take the fingertips towards the temple and you can think about that elbow sort of pulling up towards the ceiling instead. Have a little look at your left knee. It's likely to be heading out towards the side. Think about it squeezing in towards your chest. I know it sounds like the opposite to what it wants to do. Find one more breath here. And then gently release and twist yourself. That left leg's going to step back to tabletop position. Shuffle it wherever you need to get it there. And then we'll switch it round. From your neutral balance, neutral pelvis, extend the right leg. Think about, again, engaging through that right glute. And then the left arm can come and play. We're extending it forward. So the important thing about your balancing tabletop is keeping that sense of stability through your pelvis, through your core muscles. And they are doing all that to keep you still. So if you find you're wobbling a little, it means you're working extra hard. So please don't panic. But we're aiming to try and find as still a position as we can. Gazing down. Let's hold for 3. Yes, you've got it. For 2. And for 1. The right leg's going to step forward. Left hand comes down now. And we're finding that low lunge twist. Good. Right arm reaches out towards the side to prepare. Inhale. And then as we exhale, take it up towards the ceiling. Remember, you can wrap it round your back, take the load out, or maybe fingertips towards your temples. The chest is trying to rotate towards your right knee, but think about that right inner thigh trying to squeeze back towards your chest. That's going to keep that knee really strong and on top of your ankle. One more breath here. And remember, a block underneath your left hand or any hand that's down can always create a little bit more length for your arm and space for your body. Gently release it, come back. Hands come to the top of the mat. Tuck those toes, breathe in. As we breathe out, we find downward facing dog. Hips towards the ceiling. Feel free to have a little bit of a move, a shake around. A sway of the hips, pedal out to the legs. I love the opening as well for the shoulders too. Remember, down dog doesn't need to be a case of straightening those legs. We can keep the knees bent as much as we need to. Think about your bum towards the ceiling. That's essentially what we're after. That space that we're creating through the shoulder blades, fingers spread, softening your head and your gaze towards your toes. Breathing in. Breathing out. So we're finding pigeon pose next. So the right leg is going to start this one. You're going to bring the right leg towards the top of your mat. Any way you want together, so it could be that you take a big step, and if you're able to do that, great. If you need to shuffle the leg, step it a little bit and then take the right hand and literally just walk it up towards the top of the mat. The right foot is then going to shuffle out towards the left side as you drop the right knee down. Left leg is extending. Now this is a tricky pose, so I'm going to show you some options if it's not accessible for you today. Please don't panic. The right knee is out of the line of your hip. Okay, so you want to really shuffle it towards the edge of your right side of your mat. And then your right foot could start quite close towards your left hip. Think about lengthening through that back leg. And then if you feel comfortable here, you're welcome to then shuffle the left foot away from the hip. It really depends on how open you're feeling through those hips. You can then start to bring the chest maybe forward. It's a nice way to find a deeper sense of a stretch. Maybe a block for your forehead or a block underneath your right sitting bone is going to give you a little bit more stability for your pelvis. So if you feel like you're shooting your body off to one side, use some blocks to help keep everything level. Let me show you another option. For those of you who are okay, comfortable here, you're going to stay there. Your other option is to find figure four stretch, maybe in a seated position. So we'll hook the right leg over the left thigh, and then your hands are creating as much space as you need for your body. You can reach them back. Think about your right knee pressing out towards the side. You can take this on your back too. Maybe foot pressing down or foot lifting, and then you can use some support for your leg with your hands. So there's lots of different options to take here. Whichever option you are in, we're going to take 2 more breaths. If you're on your front, like me, in our sort of regular pigeon pose, we're going to think about pressing that right leg in towards the mat to get an even deeper stretch for our hip. So very strong muscles here. Breathing in and breathing out. Taking one more breath. If you're on your back or in a different position, you're going to come towards a seat. We're heading towards a twist. So this works really nicely if you're on your front, but don't panic if you are in a different position. What I want you to do is release your back leg by sitting onto your right hip, okay? And this left leg is going to come all the way forward. It's going to keep circling forwards until it steps over your right leg. Good. Hopefully that transition worked. If it didn't, no worries. Now you can stay here in this cross-legged position. So the right leg is still the lower leg, the left leg is high. From here, to get into the twist, we take the left arm behind, reaching the right arm up, that's your inhale. And then you can start to turn towards that left leg, either hugging it or maybe taking the elbow across. Now, if you were in a different position, let's get you set up here. So, if you want, you don't have to be with both legs bent. In fact, I quite like to take a twist by extending that right leg, keeping that left knee still bent, and we're in this position. The left arm is still behind. Both those sitting bones are trying to push down. Then the right arm can come up. That's your inhale. And then as you exhale, you can hug or you can take the elbow across. So there's different options and ways of twisting. We're still getting to the same position. We're just doing different variations with our legs. Beautiful. If your leg is bent, you're going to probably feel that left sit bone lift. Try and soften it down as much as you can. Let's take one more breath here, whichever option we're in. See if you can find a little bit more length by lifting up. Yes, you've got it. So crown of head, a little bit like we discussed earlier, is reaching towards the ceiling. And then we're going to get that nice rotation through the midsection of our spine, our thoracic spine. Really find that space there. You can gaze over that left shoulder as well. Good. Gently release it. Feel free to have a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a wiggle, because we're taking our hands back to the top of the mat. Feet step back to tabletop position. Find an inhale here, back to down dog. Lift the seat towards the ceiling, and then this time maybe finding a sense of stillness straight away. Breathing into both sides of the body. Nice deep breaths. If down dog isn't for you, remember you've always got child's pose instead as an option at any time. Okay, so pigeon pose on the second side. Left leg's going to step forward. Again, remember those the shuffle of the foot, or you can take a big step. So it just depends on how you feel. If you're assisting, little shuffles forward until you get towards pretty much where your hand is. And then you're going to just heel toe the foot across towards the right side of your mat, dropping that left knee down. The left knee, again, remember, is out of that line of your left hip, so it's towards the edge of your mat. And then that right leg's going to reach back. Hips are facing forward. We can then take our body down, our chest down. Find a sense of like ease here in the pose. I know, easier said than done, I totally get it. And then if you have a block, the forehead can rest on your block, or maybe the forehead just rests on your hands. If you're finding those alternative positions, we can find a seat instead. You'll just cross the left leg on top of the right thigh this time, hands reaching back. Think about that left knee sort of pressing out towards the side, or take the stretch on your back as before. Lovely. Whichever option you're in, we're aiming for 2 more breaths here. If you're on your front, as I am now, you can think about that left leg sort of pressing into the floor, create even more connection for the stretch. Again, if you want to, you feel that your pelvis is a little bit lopsided, it's totally normal. So use any assistance you need, whether it's a block, whether it's a stack of blankets or cushions, especially if you're at home. There's plenty of resources you can use instead of regular yoga equipment. Let's take one more breath. And then we're coming towards the twist on the second side. So if you've got any blocks, release them. we're going to sit ourselves onto that left side. That releases that back leg. For those of you who are in this position, you can then sweep it forward. It circles all the way forward and it crosses over your left leg. So the right knee is now the high knee, the left leg is the low leg. Good. Okay, from here, if you're in this position, I'll set you up, and then for anyone else, we'll go and we'll set ourselves up in an alternative option. So it's opposite arm that reaches up, right hand reaches back, that's your little stabilizer. Left arm reaches towards the ceiling, find an inhale. As you start to rotate, you could hug onto that right knee, or you could take the elbow across, even straightening the arm if you want to. Alternative position, you're going to find a seat. Again, it's the same setup, so we're still keeping the right leg as the high leg. Maybe you start here. So you cross the right leg over, left leg is reaching forwards, and then you think, again, sit up, right arm behind, left arm high, inhale here, and then the exhale is done on the rotation. So the reason why we try and breathe out with a twist, with a rotation, as we're doing the movement, is to release and empty all the air. It also gives us a bit more space for the spine to rotate, okay? So as we breathe in this position, I want you to think about the inhales as lifting up, or think of the crown of the head reaching to the ceiling. The exhales as maybe finding a little bit more space to rotate. You could gaze over that right shoulder as well. Breathe in. And breathe out. One more breath here. And then gently does it release yourself out. Extending the legs, maybe giving them a little bit of a wiggle, and then let's roll ourselves onto our back. Ease your way down there, knees towards the chest. Feel free to circle the knees. Bring that lower back, a little bit of a massage. And then extend the arms and the legs. Let's take a big stretch out for the whole body. A deep breath in as you reach those fingers and toes away. And then as you exhale, you can allow the arms to softly come down as we prepare for relaxation. So take any position that feels comfortable. You could have the knees bent, you could be on your side, or maybe a seated position. When you feel comfy, close the eyes. Notice how your body feels, both physically and also emotionally, how you feel too. And now let's spend a moment just focusing on our breath. So I invite you just to calm any thoughts, feelings you may have. Think about maybe turning down the volume on any thoughts. So they're still lingering, but we're not worried. We can deal with anything that you're thinking about after the session. Now notice how you're breathing. Notice the movement of your breath. breathing deeply, or are you breathing in a more natural way? Do whatever feels good for your body. But whatever kind of breath you're taking, see if you can allow the body to let go, to relax, to be supported by the floor underneath you. If your mind starts to wander, let it happen. And then when you're ready, you can bring it back to focus on your breath again. So your breath essentially acts as this home base, this safe zone. We know we can return to it whenever we need to. Now you are welcome to stay in relaxation for as long as you wish. But if you feel ready, start to find a little bit of gentle movement in the body. Normally this could be fingers and toes. Now bring your focus away from your breath. Start to think about what your body needs now. What type of movement can you take that feels good? Keeping those eyes closed if you can. So you could take the knees back to the chest. Maybe you could allow them to sway from one side and then the other. A big stretch out of the arms overhead always feels good too. Maybe even smiling, or a yawn. Start to blink open the eyes. And then either finding your way to your side, and again taking this slowly, or if you're feeling a little bit more energetic, you could even roll yourself upwards. Maybe taking a couple of rolls into a seated position. We'll finish this with one breath together, so bringing the hands to the heart. Inhaling the arms overhead, pressing the palms together. And then exhale to bring them back down to your heart, the chin towards your chest. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.